हेलो
सर, आपको ये कॉल आपके कार्ड से संबंधित किया जा रहा है।
मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग की 247 एटीएम कार्ड की, जिसमें से एक
सर आपके कार्ड पे एक नंबर होगा 16 अंकों का, कि वो कंफर्म करा दीजिए।
An arrest that did not begin with a knock on the door or flashing lights or even a warrant. It began with a phone call. One man lost 23 crores. One woman spent 6 months isolated and scared only to lose 31 crores. But one man, a farmer, lost his life. This is what digital arrest did to them. I'm Anjali Istwal, and in this show, Post Mortem, we put the spotlight on the crimes that shock us yet make us want to know more and more. Today, we dissect a crime that uses fear, intimidation, and victims' vulnerability and innocence to make their lives hell, till they completely break down. It's not just a financial crime, it is mental torture, physical exhaustion, and psychological terror. On August 4th, 2025, in a quiet Delhi home, Naresh Malhotra, a 78-year-old retired banker, answered his mobile. He had spent a lifetime inside institutions that ran on rules, paperwork, and trust. This sounded official. A woman's voice told him his phone number had been used in an illegal transaction. Naresh Malhotra became nervous, and initial shock numbed his mind. And then the line was transferred. On the other end were men who sounded trained, calm, authoritative. They claimed to be officers from the Mumbai Police, the Enforcement Directorate, even the Central Bureau of Investigation, or the CBI. They accused Malhotra of crimes so severe his hands began to tremble as he listened. Drug trafficking, money laundering, terror financing, linked, they said, to the Pulwama attack.
मेरे को उन्होंने बिल्कुल कब्जे में ले लिया जब उन्होंने मुझे बोला कि आपको टेरर फंडिंग में हमने एनआई एक्ट में लिया है,
पुलवामा वाले केस,
आर्म्स, फिर है उसमें ड्रग्स, एंटी मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग, सारे फेमा वेमा सारे दफा उन्होंने सब लगा दिए.
Before he could even process the words, they issued the command. He was under digital arrest. This was the beginning of Naresh Malhotra's incarceration in a prison without bars. Malhotra was told not to step outside his house, not to speak to his wife, not to contact his children, not to tell anyone. If he disobeyed, they warned, he would be charged under the National Security Act. From that moment on, they never let him go. Every day, for hours, he was forced to stay on video calls, reporting what he ate, when he slept, even when he attended physiotherapy. They watched him constantly. To deepen the illusion, they sent documents, a forged bail order, fake Supreme Court judgments, perfectly formatted, intimidating, absolute. And when fear wasn't enough, they turned to threats. They warned that his family will have to bear the consequences. What they wanted wasn't a confession, it was money. They told Malhotra his assets had to be verified, that large transfers were merely a temporary security deposit to be refunded later by the Reserve Bank of India. Terrified and isolated, he complied. He sold investments, liquidated savings that he had built over decades, transferred money again and again across nearly 20 bank transactions. By the time the call stopped, nearly a month later, 23 crores gone. Then suddenly, in September 2025, the screens went completely dark. No more messages, no more calls from officers, no refund, no protection. Only then did Naresh Malhotra understand the truth. He had never been arrested. He had been conned. He filed a complaint with the Delhi police, who began tracking the money trail. Investigators managed to freeze around 2.67 crore rupees, a fraction of what was stolen. This was one of India's largest digital arrest scams, a crime that did not rely on force, but fear, psychological play, vulnerability of the victim. It didn't need any elaborate infrastructure or scheming, only a screen. And for a month, a retired banker, under the illusion of so-called digital arrest, never stepped outside his home, convinced that the law itself was watching him breathe. Naresh Malhotra is just one number in lakhs of digital arrest victims. But his loss of 23 crores sent shockwaves across the country. And what was even more unnerving was the fact Naresh had himself been a player of the financial industry. But then came another unbelievable fraud. A techie looted of 31 crores. She was also digitally arrested. Her scam went on for 6 whole months, 193 days of isolation and fear. For 6 months, a quiet apartment in Bengaluru became emotional and psychological hell for a 57-year-old senior tech professional. Highly educated, financially secure, careful by nature, but still caught in a web of lies designed to prey on people like her. By the time it was over, nearly 32 crore rupees had vanished from her accounts, making this one of the largest single victim cyber frauds in Karnataka's history. And once again, it all began with a single phone call. The caller claimed to be from courier company DHL. A parcel, he said, had been intercepted in Mumbai. It was registered in her name. The victim was confused. She had never sent any parcel. The caller claimed inside were multiple passports, credit cards, and MDMA, illegal narcotics. She told them there was some mistake. That's when the call was transferred, and the voices that followed were colder, sharper. Men claiming to be senior police officers, agents from the Central Bureau of Investigation or the CBI. When the victim denied any connection with the parcel, she was told that her identity had been misused and the matter would be transferred to the Cybercrime Division. She was warned that the gang that misused her identity was still watching her and could harm her and her family. They made her believe that silence and those officials were her only protection. For months, she lived under continuous Skype video surveillance. In fact, she downloaded the Skype. Her screen stayed on day and night. Her movements tracked. Her phone calls monitored. Even when she was hospitalized in between, the camera stayed with her. Then came the financial interrogation. She was ordered to declare every asset, savings, fixed deposits, investments. The instructions came with seals and letterheads, making it look very official. She was told to transfer 90% of her assets for verification, tax clearance, and shorting. She was assured that the money would be returned. Under relentless pressure, she complied and lost everything. 187 transactions to fraudsters, savings liquidated, fixed deposits broken, severe mental and physical stress, and eventual hospitalization. By the time she realized the truth, nearly 32 crore rupees were gone. These victims lost all their money and peace of mind. But the next story we tell you is of a man who lost his life, all because of this very digital arrest scam. A few days ago, in Vadodara district, a quiet village was left reeling from a tragedy that at first looked like just another suicide. But it wasn't. It was Gujarat's first confirmed case where a life was lost to a digital arrest. The victim was 65-year-old Atul Bhai Hirabhai Patel, a farmer from a village in Dabhoi. On November 18th, Dabhoi police registered a case of accidental death. Atul Bhai had consumed some medicine. It was assumed to be a suicide. Nothing more, nothing less. Until investigators checked his phone. A simple man was being relentlessly threatened behind closed doors. He was told he was involved in a 40 crore rupee fraud. Forensic analysis revealed unknown numbers, threatening messages, and a pattern that changed everything. Police now believe Atul Bhai had been placed under digital arrest, isolated, intimidated, and psychologically cornered until he saw no way out. That pressure pushed him to take his own life.
ये जो डिजिटल अरेस्ट किया गया था, ये नंबर हाल अभी कंबोडिया से ऑपरेट हो रहा है और इस पूरे इन्वेस्टिगेशन के दरमियान ये कंबोडिया के अंदर ऑपरेट होती हुई साइबर गैंग की कार्रवाई होने का जानकारी मिली है.
Following this trail, the Aboi police arrested 2 accused, but the trail didn't just stop there. The calls that trapped Atul Bhai led investigators far beyond Gujarat. One number was found to be active in Cambodia, a known hub for digital fraud operations. Another number originated from Surat. From that same line, police in fact identified another victim. Yet another number surfaced during forensic examination. This one was active in Bengaluru, all exposed after they drove a simple man to his death. What looked like a single suicide is now revealed as part of a much larger machinery, a cross-border network that uses fear and threats that can drive a man to the brink. Despite relentless awareness campaigns, the scourge of this scam is spreading fast. Government statistics reveal a sharp and alarming increase in digital arrest scams in India, with the number of cases and the total amount of money defrauded skyrocketing between 2022 and 2024. Key statistics on digital arrest scams via National Cybercrime Reporting Portal, data presented by the Minister of State for Home Affairs in Parliament highlights the escalating trend. In 2022, 39,925 incidents were reported, with a total defrauded amount of 91.14 crore rupees. In 2024, the number of cases nearly tripled to 1,23,672, and the total defrauded amount increased by a staggering 21 times to over 1,935 crore. Now, in 2025, with only partial data available, with just the first 2 months of 2025, which is up to February 28th, 17,718 cases were reported, involving a loss of more than 210 crore rupees. So, total losses, what are they? Government data estimates the collective toll from these types of scams is at around 2,580 crores since 2022. From approximately 2,42,000 known cases. Remember, these are only reported cases. The issue has now grown too large to ignore. Most digital arrest scams are run from overseas. Fraudsters operate from countries like Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam, often with help from Indian nationals. Jurisdictional issues and lack of international cooperation make it extremely difficult for Indian police to track, investigate, or arrest these masterminds. Even when local accomplices are caught, the real brains behind the scam remain out of reach. India's cybercrime infrastructure is improving, but smaller police departments often lack the technical expertise and resources needed for complex digital investigations. There's also no specific law targeting digital arrest scams, so prosecution is slow and often ineffective. Plus, many victims don't report the crime due to shame, leading to underreporting and less data for authorities. Taking suo motu notice, the Supreme Court of India stepped in, calling the spread of so-called digital arrest scams shocking and deeply disturbing. These were not routine cybercrimes, the bench said. They were coordinated, cruel, and devastating, especially for senior citizens. What followed was a firm warning and a nationwide order. The court directed the CBI to take charge of a pan-India probe without waiting for permission from individual states. This, the judges said, must be treated as top priority above other cyber offences. The bench also widened the lens. The CBI was given a free hand to probe possible involvement of bankers who may have enabled mule accounts under the Prevention of Corruption Act. For cases with foreign links, the court authorized cooperation with Interpol, acknowledging the global reach of these scams. States and union territories were ordered to activate their cybercrime coordination centers and work closely with India's central cybercrime framework. Digital intermediaries, social media platforms, telecom companies, all were told to cooperate fully and share data when asked. And the Reserve Bank of India was brought into the discussion, tasked with exploring how AI and machine learning could help flag suspicious accounts early. The Department of Telecommunications was also directed to suggest measures to curb SIM misuse. In one move, the court made it clear digital arrest scams are no longer just individual tragedies. They are a national threat, and the country's highest court has drawn a hard line in response. Now, here's an uncomfortable truth. Did banks fail to alert customers? Are victims left vulnerable despite technology meant to protect them? Many victims don't report these crimes due to shame or fear, meaning official numbers only show part of the iceberg. There's a silent epidemic fueled by humiliation, stigma, and a lack of systemic support. Digital arrest scams are more than just frauds. They're a national crisis exposing cracks in security, law enforcement, and social awareness. If you or someone you know is a victim, don't stay silent, report it and seek help. That's all we have for you in today's edition of Post Mortem. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned to India Today for more news and updates.